Whenever your favorite cartoon is either canceled or it ends, it always kinda sucks. Because it's just sad to go and see one of your favorite shows be gone and be over. You've watched this show from beginning to end and now there aren't going to be any more episodes, and it's always kind of a sad feeling to go and see it go, but you know it has to happen, and we have to go and move on from that, and other shows had to have their chance of being on air too. But it is just always just kind of sad to go and see those things happen. And lately, over the last couple of years, we've been seeing quite a few reboots of old shows happening from our childhoods. This might even also include movies and this include TV shows that aren't cartoons and cartoons. And I've been wondering lately that, have there been too much? Just over the past few years, we've been just getting reboot after reboot after remake after reboot after remake. Just tons and tons and tons, and I'm just starting to think, is enough enough? Just over the past couple of years for cartoons, we've had the Powerpuff Girls reboot, as bad as it is. We've had the DuckTales reboot. We've had Samurai Jack, and we're also going to get pretty soon Animaniacs in the next couple of years. And it's just really amazing to go and see all this happen just in the past couple of years. Now, that's not to say that reboots and remakes are just completely new. No, they've pretty much always been around. Back in the 80s, there were a bunch of reboots and remakes of shows and movies from the 50s. We had all those reboots of the Jetsons and the Flintstones and everything like that, and so it's not an uncommon thing, but it just seems like it's happening more than it did before. And more so also for movies. Just last year we had that, or 2 years ago technically almost, we had the new Ghostbusters movie. And of course everyone hated it and everything like that, and the media went and tried to go and claim it's because it goes and stars women. Even though most people, for them, it was just that Ghostbusters didn't need a reboot. Some movies just don't need to be remade. I mean, we don't need a remake of the Breakfast Club, don't we? Do we need a reboot of Back to the Future? Some movies are just so good that, and it's so timeless, they don't need a remake. But for whatever reason, some people will just go and remake it anyway because they know that we will still watch it no matter what, even we're just going to go and watch it just so we can criticize it. But they know if it's going to make money, they will go and make it. That's why we see sequels sometimes. Even if a movie pretty much gets a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes, if it made over 600 million in the box office, there's a good chance there will be a sequel. It's not about reviews, it's about the money. That's how it works. And just over the past couple of years, we've seen tons and tons and tons of reboots and remakes, and I'm just starting to think if it's enough. Should they stop? Because even though I do like these cartoons, it's just, you also have to go and give new cartoons a chance. Let the new animators have their shows on the air. The people who made those other shows years ago, chances are a lot of them have moved on. They've moved on to different shows, or they have since retired, or maybe they've died. So you often gotta go and move on from things, and that's often difficult for a lot of people, but it's what we do have to do. And when we just go and have all these remakes and sequels and everything like that, it just makes it that much harder to go and move on from them. But there could also be some good things that can come out of it. Something that's good that can come out of this is that kids who didn't really see the shows from a long time ago could go and see these ones right now. Because, I mean, they'll probably never know about shows like All Real Monsters or The Wild Thornberrys or anything like that. But some of the more popular shows they will go and get to see, like Rugrats and Hey Arnold. And some of them probably did go get to see that with the new movie that came out. And just going and having all these remakes can go and make them interested in seeing the original shows. And with another way you can go and do that is if there's a parent who has some kids, they can go and introduce their kids to these shows that they grew up with. Just like, hey, guess what, son? I grew up with this kind of show years ago, so I'm going to go and show you it. So that is a couple of good things that can come out of it. Another thing is that actually you can go and give some new writers a chance to go and be on that show. Maybe they grew up with that show a long time ago. It was one of their favorites, they loved it, but by the time they were in high school or so, the show was long over. But once the show gets rebooted or remade, it gives them that chance again, so they can go and be a writer on what was one of their favorite shows. And of course, you are going to have to get some good writers, because some shows just don't have good writers at all. The Powerpuff Girls, that one doesn't really have the best writers on the planet. And I'm not really sure if any of the writers on there are people who grew up with the show years ago and wanted to be always on there. But if they were, you think they would want to have the show be like it once was, with the fighting and the good comedy, not just a bunch of memes and whatever that show is about. And a lot of the reboots lately have been getting some good reception and bad reception. The Samurai Jack reboot, not a reboot, but a continuation technically, got some really good reviews. I mean, yeah, it did kind of go a little more downhill towards the end, and the last episode wasn't the best. But it was still overall a really good reboot, and I really enjoyed it. And I think I heard some people saying that DuckTales reboot is pretty good. I didn't really care for DuckTales that much when I was a kid. Don't kill me, don't kill me. I didn't hate it, but it was a show I just never really cared about that much. But from what I heard, there are people who are enjoying the new show and saying it's pretty good. And of course we have the Powerpuff Girls reboot, where fans are just saying it just goes and destroys the original. They have all these memes, they took away Miss Bellum, and pretty much all the original villains don't appear as much as they used to, and they have all these new villains who just don't have the character that the old ones did. And we also have that reboot of the Magic School Bus, which people also don't really like that much. So we've been getting some reboots that people like, and we've been getting some reboots that people hate. That's how it is probably usually going to work. How is the Animaniacs one going to go? I don't know. It could be good. I mean, obviously, I do hope it's good. And I also hope it brings attention to the older show for new fans, and I do hope it works. I'm also not really sure if they're going to wreck all the original voice actors or not, but I mean, some of them are getting fairly old at this point, so some of them might be retired. But if they do have to go in and recast the people, it's understandable. I mean, if people want to stay retired, that's their decision. And that's usually what's going to happen with reboots and remakes. You're going to go and get some ones that are good and ones that are bad, but I do hope that for the majority that a lot of them are going to turn out to be good. Even just, for the most part, I do think that other shows should get their chance. I heard that some show that was going to air on Nickelodeon got canceled before it even aired, which is just unfair to me. I mean, I forgot what it was called, but from what I heard, it was canceled before it even aired. I mean, Harvey Beaks at least got, what, 1 or 2 seasons before it was canceled? So, it was lucky to be even that. And, I mean, I know a lot of people just want to see reboots of Rugrats or Johnny Bravo and Jake Long, I guess. But it also takes away from potential slots for new shows that could be really, really good, because I mean, you're always going to get some 80s and 90s kids going like, All cartoons from today suck. The 90s were the best decade. I was once one of those people, and luckily I moved on from that, but Jesus Christ. But I mean, it would be nice to see those shows come back, but it would be unfair to not go and give the new shows a chance. There are some shows I would like to go and see come back. Danny Phantom, I think that would be a really good show to bring back. I would love to bring back. But then other shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which had just a really good ending, why reboot it now? What would be the point? I mean, I can probably see them rebooting it about 20 years in the future, but as of right now, no, just let it rest. It's good to find a way it is. No reboots. I mean, they don't have to go and remake it like Spider-Man like they do every 10 years. And I actually never got that. Why do they have to remake Spider-Man all the freaking time? I mean, I like Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man was okay. And Spider-Man Homecoming, I thought it was better, but the politics were kind of annoying, but overall, I thought it was still really good. And, what's his name? Oh, I can't think of the actor's name right now for some reason. Even though I do know who he is, but he played a really good Peter Parker and a really good Spider-Man. So, Tom Holland, that's it. With all these reboots and remakes and sequels, there's some good and there's some bad that comes out of it. I mean, I can see why some people complain about it, and I can see why some people just say it's a really good way to go and have all these shows come back. We're getting reboots and remakes from Cartoon Network, from Disney, from Warner Brothers. Surprisingly, we're not getting real ones from Nickelodeon yet. We're getting specials. We had the Hey Arnold special, which was pretty good, and we also had that the Legend of the Hidden Temple movie thing. That one I didn't get, but that was okay. And very, very soon we're going to get a Rocko's Modern Life special, which I think airs either next month or the month after. And later this year, we will get the Invader Zim special, so that's all really cool. And there was supposedly that Nickelodeon might have gone and rebooted Hey Arnold if the movie did really well, but even though I do know it got some really good reviews from fans, the ratings weren't too terribly good. It got, I think, around 1 million views or so, and it did worse than a regular episode of The Loud House. So just some regular everyday episode of The Loud House that just got your everyday advertising did better than the Hey Arnold movie that was pumped up for months. Now, even though I think they should have aired more episodes to go and just pump fans even more and get more of an audience, which they didn't do at all, they chose not to go that route, and the film just didn't do that route in the ratings, which is one of the reasons I think it didn't do that well. But will they go and change their way for Rocko's Modern Life or Invader Zim? I don't think so. They didn't do it for the Legend of the Temple movie. They didn't do it for Hey Arnold, so why would they do it for Rocko's Modern Life and Invader Zim? That would take away time from SpongeBob. And we all know that SpongeBob has to be on at least 12 times a day. But, I mean, I am looking forward to the Animaniacs thing. I mean, I think does have a lot of potential to be really good, but, you know, it could just be just as bad. It could just go and be so horrible that it would actually make fans go and look at the older series once more and just get it even more popular. But, yeah, that's all I really have to say on the subject. I mean, there's good and there's the bad, but overall, I guess I am kind of leaning more towards that the reboots and the remakes can be there. At least for TV shows. As for movies, I'm not too terribly sure because, I mean, some movies are just so classic that they don't need to be remade at all, and just when you have a special 20 years after the last movie there was, it's always kind of odd. So, with that, it's just, what do you think? Do you think there are too many reboots lately and remakes? Do they have to take a break for a while and just make more original content, or should they continue with this trend? Because who knows how long that this 80s, 90s trend will continue. It could be dead tomorrow. Because one day soon, it's going to be stuff from the 2000s that are going to be more popular, because since the kids who grew up with them are going to start feeling nostalgic over them over the next few years. So, not too terribly from now, in the next few years, we probably will be seeing reboots of and remakes of movies and TV shows from the 2000s. Not all of them. I doubt we'll see any Harry Potter remake lately, or Twilight, thank God. But for some of them, we will see remakes and reboots all the time, because shows like Tom and Jerry and the Looney Tunes and Spider-Man, there will always be remakes because there will always be an audience for them, no matter what. And for some of them, I will be one of the audience who will check out some of those things, because as a fan, I'm going to try to go and support it. If I don't end up liking it, well, I just won't watch it anymore, but if I do like it, I'll give them my money and hope that the popularity for it continues even more and more and more, and it gains more of an audience. That's all I really have to say on this subject. And as I said, what do you think? Should there be more? Should there be less? What do you think? Your opinion might be completely different from mine, and you might say, well, you're an idiot, you're just wrong about all of that. That's okay. I mean, if you have a different opinion than me, then you have a different opinion than me. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on this subject.